Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh, Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing swell. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm good. I'm good right now. You had that look on your face that you're like about to say something, and
No. Just a nice chill day, like we just had some time in the woods. So just trying to feel the movie. That's all, my friend.
I'm not sure if something's coming up later.
Nope, just messing with you. That's all.
Okay. Also with us, ladies and gentlemen, Fleshroom producer Todd. How you doing, Todd?
What's up, Ozzy? Big thumbs up to you.
Oh God, you make me
Hey,
nauseous
hey.
when you do that. It's gross. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of discussing and reviewing The Great Outdoors, released on June 17th, 1988, with a rated PG, runtime of 91 minutes. Todd, you have a trailer available.
Yes, sir. Let's roll it.
Oh my gosh.
Keep
Let's roll it.
rolling.
This is Chet.
You remember me, Chet Ripley?
How you doing?
This is his family.
You can run around here naked as a bear and not worry about running into anybody.
This is Roman.
What a gas.
This is his family.
I'm waiting for their heads to rotate around and vomit pea soup.
They're about to spend 1 week together in the great outdoors.
We weren't invited.
They'll be tickled to death to see us.
Who invited them anyway?
But this is no holiday.
The man is an ass.
This is war.
You wouldn't know a good time if it fell out of the sky, landed on your face, and started to wiggle.
Are you gonna argue, or are you gonna enjoy yourself?
Dan Aykroyd. John Candy. The Great Outdoors. Outdoor fun for the whole family.
That had to hurt.
All right. Again, that was the trailer for The Great Outdoors, released on June 17th, 1988. Rated PG with a runtime of 91 minutes. Written by John Hughes, directed by Howard Deutsch. Starring John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, Stephanie Farisi, and Annette Bening. Initial thoughts on this: I'd actually never seen the beginning to this movie. To be honest, every time I'd seen it, everybody was already in the cabin. So the whole setup I'd never seen before. So it was nice to see what the whole story was about. But I think it's also a testament of the film that every time, no matter at what point I jumped into the movie, I always sat to watch the rest of it, just because I always had a good time with it. But I never actually sat down to watch it all the way through from start to finish, oddly enough. I was pleased to do those this time around. Greg?
Yeah, this was a new one for me. I'd never even seen it, even a part of it. So there's certain films, especially with certain casts, that I don't know how I miss. And so that's, I'm grateful for this show. It brings some great movies to light. So it was a fun adventure. I mean, like I said, with this kind of cast, it was, something exciting to go into and didn't disappoint.
Todd? Well,
I remember the summer of '88 well. This one and Phantasm 2 came out around the same time, both from Universal. Saw this one immediately, but I remember being at Universal when they were still, it was right after filming, but they were still in post. And they had the cabin, it was there for a long time. I don't know if it's still there, but it's directly across from the body of water, which you see in the film, which is also the water from Jaws: The Revenge that has the big fake background.
This time it's personal.
Yes, the Superman 4 of the Jaws franchise.
Well, no, the reason I brought that because that's a famous tagline. Everybody knows, like, oh, a sequel. This time it's personal. Although it with first time it was used, it wasn't for a part 2. It was a part 4. So I just always found that amusing.
The other times it wasn't. I mean, Marine Lane had it coming in that third one.
That's what made it personal.
I love the third one. Sorry.
That's okay. Great Outdoors.
Oh yeah. I saw it opening day. I remember this summer.
And they're like Jaws.
And it's like the worst one too. But no, I remember going in the summer, opening day and Friday back then.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I enjoyed both of them, and the film didn't disappoint. It's one I do revisit every once in a while, typically in the summer, because it makes the most sense.
Which is why I wanted to bring this up at this point. We're just on the verge of summer. It's being first episode of June. Now, getting into these favorite moments, this had a lot to choose from here. Todd, you want to go first here?
I had a hard time on this one, but the one thing I think that made me laugh the most this time was the bear ass, like legitimately the bear ass. I don't know why this time I just could. Yeah, it got me really good. So.
Greg?
So there's a scene where they go to pay their respects to someone celebrating their birthday. And the person is actually dead at the moment. And when the family's informed about it, the response is, "How could you do that?" And the guy who told him he was dead says, "I didn't do that. He did." Oh, fantastic.
There's, as I said, I was pretty much torn between some lines spouted by Dan Aykroyd, but ultimately it was every time the raccoon dialogue came up. I think to this point, and like I'm not sure how this would fly. So let me just ask you this, because I absolutely loved the raccoon dialogue. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen this and are not familiar, there is a post-credit scenes involving the raccoons. How would you feel if there was a re-release of the film where the raccoons were actually given voiceovers and that was the only thing that was adjusted?
I like it with the subtitles.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good the way it is because,
I think Ozzy just really wants to do voiceovers for him, and he's trying to be like,
no, I wouldn't do voiceovers for raccoons. I just want to, because I hear the voices in my head. Sure.
We know, Ozzy.
Shut up.
We know.
But I mean, like when I see the subtitle, like I imagine like, a couple of voice actors trying to be like, talking in the raccoon way. It's primarily for that last one, the end credits. Like in my head, I heard like the tone and inflection. Don't tell me. Like it was absolutely fantastic.
Did one of them sound like Bradley Cooper?
No one sounded like. Although, how about that? What if it was Bradley Cooper as Rocket doing the voice?
Although I would be okay if someone did a voiceover, but just made the best like raccoon impersonation. So like not actual words, but it's just voicing over raccoon noises. Bradley Cooper.
Right. So what's interesting about this is, so our review of The Jerk netted a 5 from all of us, and it was easy to say that, at least for me, it was a 5 just because it kept hitting you with funny moment after funny moment after funny moment after funny moment, and they were all just the amount of, like I said, the amount of quality content you got in that 94-minute runtime seemed like the amount of quality content you got out of a 2.5-hour movie. With this one, I'm giving it a 5, but in a different context. Whereas, Greg, you used the words earlier to describe this as an adventure. things happening in the movie that was progressing the story along that kept you interested from start to finish. John
Right.
Candy's always going to be a guy who's going to hold your interest from start to finish, no matter what. What I found very interesting were the juxtaposition between the role inherited between John Candy and then Dan Aykroyd, because I mean, people were used for seeing John Candy as Dell from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles being the obnoxious guy, the annoying guy. So he actually got to be the relatable one, whereas Dan Aykroyd played kind of the a-hole. So it was really interesting to see that dynamic, and it was very interesting to see everything play out the way it did.
That's actually one of my notes on here is Candy playing opposite of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Right,
Like, it
right.
was a
But
lot
yet
of
every
fun.
other movie he's in from that era, he's likable. That Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is the odd one out. This was his normal type.
Well, there you go. That's a fair point. I guess you could look at Uncle Buck that kind of same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If
Also
you look
written by John Hughes, wasn't it?
yeah, and look at his stuff in Home Alone. I mean, you look at his whole thing. I mean, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is like the one.
Okay.
Like,
Well, I think the reason why I think that both came to our minds is maybe because Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is so revered as such a great movie that
looking back, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. But then even
And
like
the
looking
fact
at
that-
oh, sorry,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
but your body of work doesn't count unless it's been reviewed on Flesh Wound Farce. So, since only Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has been on here, that's why we have to.
Spaceballs.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Ooh.
Which he definitely, I mean, he was a Mog. How is he not likable in Spaceballs? I mean, come on.
yeah.
Except he
Just-
did brush his tail against Lone Star's face a couple times.
And he was a little cheeky at times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I give it a 5 in the context of it was just a fun ride from start to finish that kept my interest going. And I wanted to see what was going to happen next. So that's that 5 from me.
I
Yes,
actually want
Scott.
to switch my favorite scene because the more I think about it, the more the bear scene is getting.
The bear, no, the I mean, like, what do you mean, like the bear? I thought you already said
Okay,
the bear.
no, I did, but very specifically the earlier bear scene in the cars when he's trying to get him to come to the cars.
For whatever reason.
Yeah,
Let him get up real close.
I was kind of annoyed he didn't open the candy bars. I think people would have got upset if that movie was made today, because he's feeding them all the crap. But I'm a 4.5.
Okay, I think a lot more people would get upset at the screaming bear. Like, that bear must have.
I'm
been
still
a
trying to
true
figure out
fan.
if they shaved the bear's head and ass.
Yeah.
The ass looked like a prosthetic, but that head looked like just shaved that some.
Yeah,
Oh, the 80s.
yeah.
It was a
Greg?
different time. Yeah, I'm with Todd. I'm sticking with the 4.5. Like, it was a fun flick. It had its good moments. Was I laughing the whole way through, like out loud? No. Was there a lot of great chuckles throughout the whole thing? For sure. But yeah, it was a great adventure, and I think that on that's what merits it the 4.5 for sure. But it's just really hard when you're chasing the jerk. Like, that's sometimes.
Well, that's why I
depending
gave it like it in a different context. You know, like
on-
it's
right.
a different reasoning to enjoying it in that same level, just in a different way. And that's
Right.
just what I wanted to communicate before I gave
Well,
it the
that's fair.
rating.
For sure, fair. But
Because
also-
I couldn't have a more good time with this movie, I guess is another way to put it.
Yeah, it felt very John Hughes, very like kind of had that fun, wholesome, good time.
That's probably what attracted me so much, probably.
Yeah.
That's my guess. So
Sounds
as of this recording, unfortunately, this film is not available to stream anywhere at this time. It is available for rent or purchase. If you're a fan of Dan Aykroyd, if you're a fan of John Candy, and you have not checked it out, check it out. By all means, like, regardless of our reviews, if you're a fan of them, check it out. Also, don't forget the end credit scene. You can even skim all the way at the end for the end credit scene. Definitely worth it. So, quick question, kind of based on this scenario. Have you guys had a nightmare vacation scenario in the woods before?
No.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I think
What do we got?
it's it's not really nightmare vacation scenario.
What
in the
happened?
woods.
What
It
happened?
was just
What happened?
being a young teenager with the YMCA in the woods.
Okay.
Like,
What happened?
There was first off, made to feel foolish with snipe hunting. And if anyone knows, have you never been snipe hunting?
No.
So you have to run out into the woods yelling snipe in a very high pitched voice, and it raises. And as you say it, and you have to keep doing that to attract it out to catch it. That being said, they don't exist, and you just are made to feel foolish at the end of it. So you then just look real dumb to all the girls that you were at camp with you, and that at that age, a little nightmarish.
So you fell for the snipe tracking bit.
Yeah. I
Okay,
did.
ladies and gentlemen, be advised if you're going to be in a outdoor woods area and you're maybe with somebody who's maybe slightly gullible. I mean, not to say, Greg, that you're gullible or anything, but just
Oh, I was at that time. Don't worry.
throwing it out there. Just go ahead and tell them, like, hey, if you keep yelling snipe with a high pitch, you'll attract the snipe to come out. Is that how it was presented to you? Or
No, they want the
full
snipe
on
to come out.
demonstrated. It's just a little later at night for me to be able to demonstrate the full snipe call.
Sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of the reasoning, the setup, so to speak, to lure somebody into the trap, did I pretty much nail it on the head?
Pretty much. And then they even provided bags,
They give you little clubs too or anything?
They didn't go that far. I think that they were concerned about what we might do with
Just
them
in case
when
you
we found
actually
out.
found something that you thought was a snipe and you come
Yeah.
back with a bag full of something, everybody's like, it was just a joke.
The
What's in the
neighbor's
bag?
dog.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a shithead. I'm sorry. And Todd, you said you don't have any woodsy.
Well, I mean,
outdoorsy.
there was one church camp story, but I don't know if I should tell it.
Okay. Church camp?
That's the part you heard?
That's the first thing that I heard and the first thing that caught me off guard.
I got in trouble at church camp for being
Okay,
downstairs
that
alone.
doesn't surprise me.
Okay, I got in trouble at church camp for being downstairs alone with a girl.
Please say it was a dungeon.
It was like the cabin we were staying at for church camp. There was no dungeon.
Oh, dang it. It would have been perfect. Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this.
Was someone screaming hallelujah too loud?
Let me ask you this. Between the time of when you were alone with this person and the time that you were caught, how much time had elapsed?
Those Christians move fast.
Hilarious.
I think
the question has been answered. Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't have any fun, nightmarish type woodsy stories, unfortunately. Although when I have worked as a camp counselor, the only thing I am kind of creeped out for a second is like, if I'm walking by myself, I got my flash or whatever, and I look out into like the dark woods, and I think to myself, is there really like, what if there was just like some creepy dude that was just like killing people, right? And then I see my silhouette. It's like, it would be me. I'd be that I have the silhouette of the creepy dude that would kill everybody. So I'm fine. I should feel nothing but safety as I'm roaming the woods. So I just wanted to share that because I'll be
As long as you just lurk slowly, I think that's key.
If you can outslow anybody else in the woods, if you can be the slowest moving thing in the woods, you're the dominant thing in the woods.
That's right.
Okay.
Words to live by, ladies and gentlemen. So do you guys have anything before we head out for the evening?
Don't take camping tips from Ozzy. I don't know.
I didn't even give any camping tips.
I don't know. It seems like you're steering them wrong.
Not steering anybody.
Well, being a slow lurker.
Yeah.
Well, it's Todd the one that said to be a slow lurker. So don't take camping advice from Todd. is what we
I
should
didn't
be
say
saying.
Be a slow lurker.
Who said to be a slow lurker?
I
Greg? Okay,
Yeah.
we should not listen to Greg then.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Well,
church
that's how
camp,
you got in trouble, Todd.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that
I
is
didn't
Flesh-
last
Oh,
much
sorry.
longer there. I didn't last much longer.
Much longer.
At church camp.
Oh, I thought you meant in that moment. Hi-yo.
Hi-yo. It's fantastic. All right. Seriously, anything else before we head out for the evening? Guess good? All right.
We're good.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Flesh Wound producer Todd and world famous juggler Greg Larson. And I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.